Hey everybody, Dutch Sense here. It is 1:02 p.m. Central Time on Monday, June 20th, 2016. And if you're a longtime viewer, this is just going to blow you away. You remember my paper-thin battery that I came out with over a year ago? And the night I came out with it, it was carbon, aluminum, zinc. I was using different vitamins. Okay? You remember this? And they took it, and within, I don't know, a few hours, they had made their own video at Stanford claiming they discovered it, and they waited a month, though, to put it out after my video. So, in other words, they ripped and flipped my idea on the paper-thin carbon aluminum battery. Now, in the video, I showed it's not just carbon and aluminum, but it's, you may remember I had zinc. All right? Zinc and carbon. Did anybody here remember any of this? Is there anybody in chat who remembers any of this? Okay, some people remember this. All right. I'm going to play for you what just came to me on my YouTube channel in my inbox. I'm just going to play it for you. This just appeared on YouTube. Okay. This is their YouTube channel. Look at this. Rechargeable zinc battery. Okay? Now listen. Listen to this foolishness.
Fail over time because of tiny fibers called dendrites. When you use or discharge a battery, metal ions move from the anode to the cathode. The ions return when the battery is being charged. Repeated charging can cause metal dendrites to form on the anode. These dendrites can grow until they finally reach the cathode, causing the battery to short circuit. Here is a typical zinc battery with dendrites that have grown long enough to cause a short. To prevent shorting, Stanford engineers used an insulator to trap the dendrites on the anode so they never reach the cathode. Making rechargeable zinc batteries is difficult, thanks to the buildup of dendrites. But with the new insulator design, the Stanford team successfully isolated dendrite growth, allowing them to charge and discharge an experimental zinc battery more than 800 times.
Well. Looks like Stanford engineers figured out that when you put carbon in with the zinc in between the anode and cathode, that acts as an insulator that allows for the flow of electricity to go from the anode to the cathode continuously. And as they found out, as I showed in my video, that you can take your power meter and take a reading on it and it never discharges. It's constantly sending a charge from the anode to the cathode, not like a battery, more like a generator. And they now figured out that they can do it with zinc. Okay, sure, right. These are the best scientists in the world, and the best they can do is rip and flip ideas that they steal from YouTube. And they stole it from me because within 12 hours of me putting it out, Stanford releases a thing saying they discovered a new breakthrough in battery technology that they can make paper-thin batteries out of aluminum foil and carbon. And that was my invention. I put it out to the world, letting everybody know I discovered it, and then they came out and said they discovered it the same night. But we're just going to wait a month before putting it out because we need to publish this in Journal of Nature and Science and everything like that. So now here we are, and buffering again, really? Really, isn't that great? Well, here we are again, and Stanford, again, now takes the zinc portion of the battery, and they're blown away to find out that zinc will provide a charge nonstop over 800 times. Just like imagine this. You've got your power tester in one hand. You've got your negative and positive, and then you just touch to the battery over and over again. 800 different times. Zip, 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 zip. That's 800 separate charges instantly off of that little generator. It's not even a battery. To call it a battery is not the right term because it's producing power. It's not about storing power. When you combine the carbon, the zinc, in the battery that I showed, it produces a charge. There is no incoming charge to it. You're not storing power in it. It is already in there. It's in the atomic structure of the different atoms that make up the elements. So there's power stored inside aluminum. In general, just the fact that aluminum exists, it's a power source. Same with the carbon, same with the zinc. And if you allow a way for the zinc to send an electron to the aluminum on the other side of the battery, and the in-between layer is carbon, that allows for the electron to go between and pass from negative to positive. And on the way, you hook up your light bulb, or you hook up your in between the negative and positive as the charge is coming out of this generator and going to your device. That's where you get the charge. And then it goes back down around and completes the loop. And it keeps going back and forth between layers forever, as long as you have the layers next to each other. It's not a battery, it's a generator. Also, it works in the sun. Now here's something funny that they haven't figured out yet. This is how you know they ripped it from me, because they haven't figured out the other use for it. And I'm going to tell them now, since they're such blockhead moron rip-off artists, that this paper-thin battery can be placed out in the sun, and it's thermal reactive. It'll produce more voltage when it's heated up. And it'll work at night. It'll work during the day. It'll work more during the day in the sun than it will at night. But it's a solar panel that'll produce a charge at night. In the dark. In the cold. It'll always produce a charge, and it'll produce more when it heats up. So what does that mean? It means paper-thin, ultra-lightweight solar panels. Roll out like the you ever see those things that you put in your windshield of your car to protect your car from the sunlight, those reflective things? Well, you can make a solar panel out of that. I mean, we're talking like super paper-thin that you could make these into. Not just batteries, solar panels too. So what can I say? They're rip-off beyond rip-offs. They basically just took the other portion of my invention, and in the video, by the way, in the video, I have zinc I'm using zinc and calcium in addition to carbon and aluminum to show what's going on. I mean, to generate the power. But I show what's going on in the video. I actually show bottles of vitamins with zinc, and I use zinc, and I multiple times say zinc. And here, yeah, mylar thin, exactly. Mylar thin sheets of solar panels. And it could also be done in paint. You could theoretically do this in layers of paint. So you could have one color paint. Let's say you're painting your walls. You do your base coat primer in white, right? Well, in that base coat primer, you could have aluminum filing, small powder aluminum mixed into the paint. Then your middle layer, your first layer of paint, you would mix in a little bit of carbon. And then in your final layer, you would mix in a little bit of zinc. And then so you'd have the base layer of aluminum, middle layer with a little bit of carbon, and upper layer with zinc in it. Then connect your anode and cathode to the bottom of your wall that you just painted. Okay? And there you have a whole wall producing power. Now, if sun's shining on that wall, it's going to produce even more power. And so the days are coming in the future where you could theoretically paint your house, and the paint on the outside of the house could be providing power to the inside of the house. Same with the inside. So, well, here's the deal about patenting. It's a ripoff. They take it anyways. Patenting just means I'm going to Big Brother for an approval on something, saying that this is my idea. My video legally stands as a way to prove that. If I make a video announcing that I've discovered something and I show something in the video, that is proof that I discovered it first in the legal world. So whether or not it's a patent, there's a thing called a poor man's patent, where you write your idea down, you use an official government arm or some way to document that your idea was yours at this date and time, you mail it to yourself, certified mail, and don't open it. And then that serves as a poor man's patent, proof that you came up with this idea on this date and you used a U.S. government office, the post office, to send that, and you haven't opened it. It's legally verifiable that that idea is yours. The same thing could be said for a video. That when I step up and say, I've made this, I've discovered this on this time, and this is how you do it, and this is how you make it, that's my idea. If somebody comes and takes it and tries to go make money on it, well, they become liable for intellectual property. And I can go to a jury or a judge and say, see, here I am publicly stating, this is my idea, this is how it works. Same thing is done for a patent. A patent is publicly stating, this is my idea, this is how it works. And anybody can go look that information up, by the way, once you put it into the patent office. And that's what happens when people rip and flip ideas over in China. They have patent trolls that sit there all day long and wait for these new things to come out, and then they immediately take the patent, rip it and flip it, and make it in another country. So for the patents, and again, it would be me trying to make billions of dollars on it, which I'm also not trying to do. But all I ask for when I put my original video out is just credit for the discovery. And then you can use and develop it however you want, but you need to give the appropriate credit back to the discoverer for what was discovered. That way I get my name cleared from all the smears that have happened to me over the years by coming out with a new energy invention that'll save frickin' millions of people's lives and help around the world. Paper-thin batteries that can be disposable, made out of non-toxic materials that you could literally eat if you need. I mean, you wouldn't want to, but you can ingest carbon, zinc, a little bit of aluminum. You wouldn't want to chew on aluminum foil, but we're talking about being able to dispose of these things without causing harm to the environment at all. And they'll produce power as long as they have the layers together. Never run out. Never cause a fire either. We're not talking about any kind of electrical short that can happen. We're talking about just what happens when you put things next to each other. So, they were all blown away. The Stanford scientists were completely blown away when I put out my video and showed that the missing component between all their batteries that they needed to include was carbon. And it's funny because, with climate change and carbon, they're trying to capture carbon. Well, here's a perfect way to capture carbon, because we can use carbon, again, to power things in batteries that are enclosed little batteries that can be disposed of and eventually thrown away. In other words, small amounts of carbon can be tossed away into the landfill. And you want to talk about carbon sequestration, everything runs on, and we can do this for not just for cell phones, like for powering your cell phone, but we can make bigger versions in bigger sheets, combine the sheets into a book, and there's a power source for a car. Or you can make them microscopic, because one drop of this stuff, not just in the paper-thin battery, but if you mix it in water the right way, I've already done the experiments, you mix it in the water the right way, use distilled water and a few other things, and one eyedropper produces the same voltage that whole paper-thin battery that I showed you in the video did before. One little, not even an eyedropper. You take a needle and dip it into the water, then take the little bit of water that's on there and put it on a piece of paper. And then take your voltage meter and read it. It's producing the same voltage. A needle drop worth of it. Now think about that. One needle drop worth of that is producing a half volt. 1/2 volt at, I don't even know the microamperes off that, but it doesn't matter. That you could combine those on a board. You could use that for small components on a board, on a circuit board. And so the things that would have required power before on the board now have a steady source of power, like having a battery attached to it. And they always put these little watch batteries on the motherboards, for instance, to provide certain power to the board. But this would replace those entirely. You would never run out of power. And your smaller components would always be charged. Always have a charge in them, even when off. Now that's huge. The potential for that is awesome if you really think about what you could do with a circuit board that always has power. Regardless of whether or not you're in the sun or plugged in or whatever, just the basic components could already have that power provided to them. Steady source, nonstop, all day long. Why rip it like that when they can? Because it would be giving me credit. Could you imagine if Dutch Sense, me, Michael Janich, was given credit for a new battery discovery relating that's going to change the world of energy storage and generation for the next 100 years? What that would do for me in weather modification and earthquake forecasting and everything like that. That they can't give me credit. So the best they can do is rip it and flip it. And they look like idiots when they're doing it now. Here they are with zinc. And again, you know what? Let me go get my video. Let's see. Paper, if you want to search it, it's on YouTube. Paper thin battery Dutch Sense. Okay. And you know what? Maybe I should just play it for you. What do you guys think about that? Do you think I should just play the video for you? Yeah, let's just do that. And I'll put it into chat in case you guys want to save it for later. Keep in mind, Stanford with their zinc discovery, quote unquote, today. And my video from March 13th, 2015. So a year and 3 months ago. And you can see below the video when you click on that, or maybe you can't see it here, I put out an update on April 10th, and I said, Stanford, this one's for you. It's sad you didn't give me credit. You ripped it. Okay, but let's just go ahead and play this for you guys so you can hear.
Hey everybody, Dutch Sense here. Friday, March 13th, 2015 at 2:40 a.m. Central Time. And I've got you down here in my computer lab and you're looking at a little mess I've got going on the desk here. What I want to show you is just, well, it's phenomenal. And for those of you who are into free energy or into cheap energy, this might be something you want to look
And
into
there
a
it
little
is,
bit
the
further.
zinc right there.
I'm just doing experiments now based upon something that happened to me. Long story on how I discovered this, but what we're looking at here are some pieces, very thin pieces. Okay, you can see here this is a piece of copper tape and tin foil, and sandwiched in between this copper tape and tin foil is a paste calcium vitamin. Okay, here we go. And a mixture of zinc, again vitamin, 50 milligram, and printer toner carbon ink, you know, the powder black printer ink. And when you mix the zinc with the printer ink, that actually has what's called an electronegative reaction. And off a little itty bitty piece, and I don't know if you can see this here. Okay, this is just the same thing that I was just holding up before, but much smaller. I'm going to take a voltage reading on this and show you what kind of voltage it's generating. Okay, so here's my voltmeter, all right, and we're just going to let that zero out. I've got it on DC millivolts. And here's our little piece we're going to test. And we're
No, it hasn't been around for years, unfortunately, because when I discovered it, the next night, Stanford claimed they discovered it 1 year ago, and they even made a huge press release about it, about this new breakthrough discovery that carbon can be used as a version of power generation when mixed with aluminum. And they even took the exact design that I have here with the copper tape and the aluminum tape. It has not been around for years. Not at all. I know this for a fact. You can go to Stanford and check it out yourself.
Let's do the range. Okay, now you can see I've got that on volts and we're zeroed out. Okay, and as you move these
Well,
around,
then how could they have
you know,
claimed to have discovered it and patented it and just sold it to Fuji? If it was discovered years ago, why would they make a big deal about it on April 10th, 2015?
Okay. There we go. All right. So, first test on this one right here. One lead to the copper, one lead to the aluminum. Look at that. 0.5 volts. And it's bouncing around, okay? And of course, this is crudely made, guys. Literally just a piece of copper tape stuck to a piece of tin foil, and sandwiched in between those are ground up vitamins. Okay, let's touch my leads. Okay, and that's off this little itty bitty piece. Again, here. I mean, you know, it's just like a piece of tin foil. Okay, so I've got other pieces here, and this one is with a clump. This one here is with a clump of the
This is the aluminum battery we have. It's made of aluminum and graphite. Both materials are quite cheap. Right now it's lighting up a LED light, and you can bend it, and still you can see the LED light is still on while you are bending it. Similarly as this, we have two batteries with a cell phone, so it can provide like 5 volts, and it can be charged within a minute. It's possible to have like bendable cell phone with bendable screen. You have bendable batteries on the back, and it's great. This is a lithium-ion battery, which we use a lot in our daily lives. For example, in our cell phone and in our laptops. Commonly, lithium-ion battery, if you drill a hole through the battery, it will probably catch on fire. But our aluminum battery is non-flammable. So if you drill the hole through it, it's still running for a while. It's definitely a high safety battery we have. And it has a reasonable capacity and a very long cycle life. It has no decay over hundreds of cycles, even thousands of cycles. So you can have a potential application in grid scale electric storage. So it's quite exciting. I think it can be further improved, and this is a great start. We think that it has a bright future.
Yeah, that's April 10th or April 6th, 2015. Now, keep in mind, I put out my video March 2015, and it's not flammable at all. See, the reason is it's not flammable is that there's no actual, that the voltage exchange that's happening is between substances. And so you're tapping into a voltage flow that normally happens every day, that happens between all substances when you put them next to each other. It's just certain substances and certain layers allow for the power to transfer through that wire that he's holding in his hands. It comes out of the top of the battery or generator and goes back into the bottom of the battery, and it completes a cycle. And the cycle, like he said, happens thousands of times. You can just keep touching it over and over again. Small, you can even have it regulated, which is what they do there. And that's a new discovery. That's something I discovered, and I put it out to the world, and then they took it and then, of course, made it in a laboratory setting and sold it. So, and it's not up for debate. They did it. They did it within a month of me putting it out. They've discovered it, quote unquote, and now they took the second portion, the zinc portion. Because as I explained in the video, it's not just aluminum and carbon. It's any element on the chart. If you place them in a certain layer, they will share power amongst each other. You could do it with gases, liquids. But gases, think about this. You could put certain gases in a tube, and they will frickin' start to produce power without anything actually physically there. It doesn't just apply to the paper-thin battery. You can also do it with liquids, like I said. And they patented it on April 10th, 2015. Almost a month to the day from the point where I put out my video. So there we go. The battery thing blocking the window, this is breaking news again today. Stanford ripped me off again. Stanford, the college. I put out a video back in March 2015 showing a discovery I made about certain elements when you put them next to each other. If you incorporate in carbon with that, it serves as an insulator and an ability for the power to transfer amongst the layers of whatever you're putting together. Within 12 hours of me putting that out, Stanford took the idea and patented it as their own. They waited a month to announce it, though, and they announced it in April, a month after I put out my video. Then, now, today, I just logged into my YouTube inbox, and there's a new video from Stanford announcing that they made another discovery about battery generation, power generation, and this one incorporates zinc and carbon. Well, that's the other portion of my video. Zinc and carbon. And so, that's the explanation for why the battery is on the screen. Because I got ripped. This is now twice. No credit given. I'm just stating it for a fact how it is. and take it or leave it. Now, whether or not I got a lawyer and sued them, I'm gonna wait till they make a few $1 billion on it. Then I'm going to do it, because this is publicly documented that I came out with the idea first, and that night they say they discovered it. No jury will ever believe that that's just a coincidence. So we'll let them make their billions first. After they've got their billions, then I come in and sue. I'm going to let them go through the hard lifting legwork to get it all done, and then because they didn't give credit where credit was due, that's all I asked for. Where they're going to come back, we'll then come back and either tell them that they need to give credit where credit's due once they've made their billions, and we can let the public decide what I deserve for the idea, or we'll let a jury decide what I deserve as damages. One of the two. I'll give them the opportunity to give me what I asked for originally, which is credit. So, because what's not? Look, RV2PC3D. Look, I know you're here a lot, but you got to understand, you're wrong. Okay? They patented it on April 10th, 2015. They made a big deal about the discovery, meaning that it's a new discovery. You may have seen something a long time ago. I don't know, maybe you're talking about other substances. You certainly aren't talking about a paper-thin battery that's going to produce power forever, because it's not a battery, it's a generator. And yes, I am taking credit for it because I discovered that. And they ripped it that night. In case you don't believe that, you can go check and see when they timed their frickin' press release and when they say they discovered it. And it matches up to the day of my video release. So I'm sorry you don't agree. Maybe. I don't know. If you're going to self-deprecate yourself, I'm not going to say you are. I'm saying you're wrong. You don't have to be a dumbass to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. But if you think that it's been invented before, then why are they patenting it now? It's just a simple question. Why would they be patenting it now if you say they invented it before? Please show me the invention before. That's all I'm asking. If you're going to sit here and say that over and over again, please provide the invention that you're talking about. You can't remember, okay, then you're wrong. You're misremembering. And I'm upset again, of course, now, because what do we have? I mean, we've got Stanford ripping me, and then we got people denying that the invention even exists, and that it was invented before. Oh, really? Okay. Why is it so hard for people to understand that this stuff happens? I've shown the evidence for it, and there's, people who just don't want to believe it. They want to think that, what, you think I'm wrong? You think I just made this up? If it existed before, why did everybody freak out so hard when I put it out? The people at Metabunk said I just reinvented the galvanic cell. Why would they even say anything? Why didn't they say, oh, this already exists? No, they didn't say that. They said I just reinvented the galvanic cell. So, but you're never wrong, Dutch. I don't have to. You just refuse to research? I refuse to research. Really? You're going to tell the premier researcher in your community that you're coming to that I don't do research? Really? Really? You know what you saw? Okay. Then we're all wrong. And you're the right one. You got it. I just so happened to make a mistake. Stanford just so happened to make the mistake too, and they just so happened to patent it. The patent office made a mistake in approving it because it was already invented, and everybody made a big deal about it just because it was a slow news day then. Yeah, premier researcher. I discovered HARP rings, plasma physics, pushed it to the forefront, fracking earthquakes, earthquake forecasting, asthenosphere earthquakes causing shallower earthquakes. Yes, premier researcher on YouTube. I'm sorry you don't want to believe that. Yeah, I've got a whole list of discoveries that I've made. Compare that to other researchers online. So, I'm sorry that you don't like me having a positive self-opinion about my discoveries. I mean, come on. If you made the discoveries and somebody was ripping you off, you'd be sitting there saying something. I guarantee it. You wouldn't just be like, oh, that's cool. Go ahead and rip me and flip me. So, I don't know. Ego trip? I'm sorry, I got ripped off by Stanford again today. So, it's not an ego trip. I'm incredulous. I cannot believe that they would. It's getting ripped off. It's getting ripped off. It's not an ego trip. I'm upset that I got ripped. Look at these idiots. Look at them. You guys butthurt or something? You're butthurt about me talking about my discoveries. Taking credit for my discoveries? Really? Can you show me any other YouTubers doing that? Anybody else in the community here? Making discoveries and putting them out. You know, new inventions. I can't think of anybody. Does SO do that? No, sure doesn't. BP? No, sure doesn't. Dabu? No, sure doesn't. Tattoo? No, sure doesn't. Monty? No, sure doesn't. Any of the other reporters, the truthers? No, they sure don't. We Are Change? Do they do that? No, they don't. Do you do that? No, you don't. And I'm talking to RV at this point. Do you do that? No, you sure don't. So, you know, and I'd like to see all your videos on it, guys. I'd like to see, if you do it, and you're sitting here and you're like, oh, I do this stuff all the time. Well, let's see the videos. Show me. Show me where you put all your stuff out. Documented it. Put it out to the world where they ripped you off, and then we'll talk. But at this point, you want to debate me as to whether or not it actually happened or that it existed before? All I'm asking is that if you say it existed before, you need to provide proof of that, just like I'm providing proof of what they did to me. I'm providing dates, times, locations. So, what can I say? If you don't like that and you disagree, then you can provide your dates, your times, your locations, or you can kind of shut up. Because, again, this is about proof. This is about truth. This is about presenting not just like, oh, I heard this somewhere before. Yeah, you just got to trust me, Dutch. I don't even know who you are. And I certainly wouldn't take your word for anything because people make mistakes all the time. That's why I have to provide links and proof. That's why I played the video for you, you see. It's not just me, you know, talking. I show you my video from this date, show you their discovery made on the date after, then I show you their videos where they're taking credit for it in April, a month later, and then now I show you the video that just appeared in my inbox today. Then show you my original video that had the zinc in it. Sure, zinc batteries existed all the time, but as they explain in the video, you have to add something else to it, and that stops the decay and allows for the power to flow from anode to cathode. That's the new discovery. God, I swear to God, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, can anybody fucking catch me a break? For real? Every fucking day. And I mean every fucking day. There's always somebody who's got some shit to say back to me when I'm just showing you what's up. Every effing day. Always some person, some know-it-all, some person who insists that I just got it wrong, you see? And that everything that I'm showing you is wrong too, and that they got it right, but then you ask them for proof. You ask them to back up their statements with any facts. And what do? What do? They shut the hell up and they can't provide one fucking link to anything that they're showing. So, anyways, we'll let the music play. I just wanted to get on here and show you guys that, and look what it turns into. I'm showing you something that happened real time, and it immediately turns into this, right? Where I have to go on the defensive against people in chat who just got some shit to say. Oh no. Okay, and it's only when I freaking take credit for the things that I do, like so I say I'm a premier researcher. Oh my God, how dare you say you're a premier researcher? Well, is that better than the freaking guy who's calling himself a freaking professional scientist and offering speaking conferences right now? Do you have anything to say about that? Are they, me saying that I think I'm a good researcher and that I've made discoveries is ego-filled? Now it's just if I take credit for my own work, that's ego-filled? Man, really? Because, like, last time I checked, that's how researchers, that's what you do when you make research. you take credit for your research. It's not ego-filled. It's hard fucking work. And I got to really go up against a lot of trash just to get it done. So, you know. Meanwhile, the peanut gallery sits back and they all just sit back and they don't do anything. While they criticize and pick apart everything. And now this expands to an entirely broader group of people who've been coming here, which is the incredulous ones, the ones who just cannot accept the facts on earthquake forecasting, on heart rings, on any of the things that fracking earthquakes, any of the topics that I broke over the past several years. And yes, I broke them. I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just saying how it is. You can go back and look. There was only one guy making videos on fracking earthquakes for 2010, 2011, going into 2012. Everybody else came over and told me I was nuts. Told me I was a conspiracy theorist, even fellow YouTube video makers. Nobody picked it up, not one person, except for me, that was on fracking earthquakes. Same with the stenosphere quakes, same with heart rings, same with weather modification, frequency-induced vortex. All those people who came afterwards. They all showed up on coattails that I freaking put forth. Now again, I'm not patting myself on the back. These are just the facts. As a matter of fact, I've said it multiple times. I wish I would have never made any one of these damn discoveries. I wish I would have kept my mouth shut and kept it all to myself and just thrown it away. Because it's not worth it. It's not worth it trying to save the world and get these ideas out to the planet and change things. Because look what the world does to you. They all sit back in their armchair and critique you while doing nothing of their own to make it better, any better, in my opinion, except for taking part in chats and being these online heroes, online warriors. Yeah. Anyways. And it's every day, guys. Come on, man. Like, come on. Are you guys going to ever catch me a fucking break where I can have a good day and come on here and just, like, interact with people without some kind of freaking attack each day? Every day it's something. And you know what? And if you've got a problem with me, really, I mean, seriously, I just want to say to anybody in here who does really have a problem with me, why don't you just get the fuck out? You got the whole freaking internet for you. You got a wide world of things to look at. You got a problem with me, leave. And don't fucking come back. It's okay. The fact is that you can't. Most of you who have a problem with me and are still here, you can't leave. You're so fucked up in the head that you're freaking butthurt all day long and you sit there and obsess on the internet. Or you're paid to do it, one of the two. So either you're obsessed or you're paid to sit there and do the douchebaggery that you're doing. There is one other option, that you're not even real people and that you're bots. But I lean more towards real douchebags as opposed to douchebag computers programmed by idiots. But whatever you are, if you got a problem with me and you're here, you're the problem. Just a heads up. No matter what I think or say or anything, even if I'm not here, if you're here and you don't like me, you're just screwed up. You're doing what you like. It's like the people who hate CNN and go to CNN every day to check the news and see if they can make a comment. That's like brain dead zombieism. You're a freaking programmed paid pet parrot dumbass. And that's why you don't like me, because I'm going to call you out, I'm going to make discoveries, I'm going to take credit for them, and it's going to hurt you out the ass because you haven't done anything. You could, anytime, anyone who's criticizing could get off their lazy ass and start doing some real research. Instead of telling me I don't know what I'm doing or not doing research, let's see yours, you lazy SOB. I mean, come on. So, and I want to see you put it out and then watch other people rip it and flip it. So let's see you do the hard research and make some discoveries and stuff, and then, I don't know, maybe I'll just like change my name to Yong Lang and freaking rip you off. Watch you squirm and wiggle and complain to all your viewers and all the stuff that I have to do. Wouldn't that be great? See you do all this hard work and see it get just totally destroyed and ripped off. Yeah, I bet you'd be cool with that. I bet you wouldn't say a word. And I can come over then and tell you that your discovery wasn't shit and that it was discovered before because I saw it somewhere. And then you'll ask me for proof and I'll say, I don't need it. I saw it. And then you'll say, dude, you're a douche. And then I'll say, yeah, well, you've got an ego. And then you'll come back and I'll come back, and this is what I have to go through every freaking day from thousands of people. Hundreds of people a day do this to me across my YouTube channels, Twitter, Facebook, and now here on the live stream. So it's not just you, it's me versus thousands. Thousands. All the people, there's a Facebook group with 5,000 shitheads in it who all denied everything from heart rings to fracking earthquakes. They were wrong. And yes, it was me versus 5,000. I was right. They were wrong. 5,000 people, frickin' wrong. Me, right. What the fuck? I don't even want to be that. I wish I would have never even discovered it. Just turns out they're a bunch of dumbasses who don't understand basic science. Are you surprised? A bunch of people who think they know better, but when you actually ask them to provide anything, their best explanation for heart rings is birds and bugs. Or that I was photoshopping it. Or that it was discovered before. That was something else they said. Oh, this was discovered before. You're just repeating someone else's discovery. And I said, really? Heart rings? Really? You want to try and say heart rings or someone else's discovery? Okay. Okay. And then they tried to say it was just birds and bugs. So, again, what do I got to go through? I got to go through the shit just to be myself. And if I want to get on here and tell you what's happening to me, well then all of a sudden, in comes the freaking peanut gallery telling me everything about me and what's going on, like they know. And Stanford, riding away with $1 billion while giving no credit back, and that's what the original beef is all about, is that the discovery that I made on the paper-thin battery was ripped and